What's up, everyone? My name is Ben, and this channel is dedicated to all things personal finance, helping you earn more, spend less, and invest the difference. So let's get started with today's topic. So a few days ago, President Trump announced his upcoming budget and upcoming fiscal priorities for the coming year, some of the targets of what he would like to accomplish. Now, it's important to note that none of this stuff is finalized, and details at this point are very sketchy. We probably won't hear too much more about this until later on in the fall. You see, this is going to be a big push towards a re-election campaign and all that stuff. So I would assume probably around the September-ish timeframe, we should be hearing more detailed plans and proposals. But here's what we tentatively have as of today. So the first proposed change, and like I said, this is proposed, and none of this stuff is actually in effect yet. It still has to be voted through Congress, and I mean, Trump has to be reelected. So none of this stuff is finalized yet. But the first change that he had was he wanted it to be easier for Americans to invest in the stock market. Now, over the last 30 or so years, the percentage of Americans who are investing in the stock market has risen dramatically. This goes back to about 1990 or so, when only about 30-35% of Americans had any stocks at all. And currently that number is hovering in the 50-55-ish range. This is due largely to the ease of access with index funds and mutual funds that spread out that risk for us. But still, the president wants that number to be even higher. So the theory behind this is that by making it cheaper and making it easier to invest in the stock market, it will allow more people to invest, and then over the long run, those people will be better off financially and will ultimately require less long-term assistance by the government. At least that's the theory. So one of the ways the president is trying to get more people to invest in the stock market, is by creating a new investment vehicle altogether. So this new product is going to be called a universal savings account, lovingly referred to as a USA. I like it already. So these USA accounts, these universal savings accounts, are meant to streamline and simplify the savings world. You see, right now, it is a mess. I consider myself a financial junkie, a financial guru, but even I have a hard time keeping up with all of the rules and restrictions on all of the different types of savings accounts. Just for retirement accounts alone, there are 15 different types of retirement accounts. Do you have a traditional 401k? Do you have a Roth IRA? Do you have a SEP IRA or a solo 401k? Do you have a TSP, a thrift savings plan? Like, there are so many different rules and regulations, and each one of these products has different, age requirements of when you can withdraw, or when you can withdraw money early and under what circumstances and what penalty rate it's at. It's a mess. So these USA accounts are meant to try to streamline all of that. Not only is it going to attempt to streamline the retirement savings, but it's also going to wrap in your education, like your 529 college plans for your kids, and your medical savings, so your HSA, your health savings accounts. In theory, these USA accounts are meant to replace all of this conglomerate of different savings accounts. Now, like I said, we don't have too many exact details on these programs. It's probably not going to come out until September-ish timeframe, a few months before the election. But other countries already have similar programs. Canada is using something similar to this, and so is England. And both of these countries have had pretty good success with these type of universal accounts. So I would assume that when America attempts to adopt something like this, that we're going to model it after what they have already put in place, because if it works for them, it should work for us. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. So while details are not finalized and everything is still subject to change, the basic premise, or at least the starting point of what they're looking at, is that individuals with income up to $200,000 would be able to contribute $10,000 per year towards these universal savings account on a tax-deferred basis. The difference, however, is that you can have access to this money at any point. Like, it's not a retirement account, it's not an education account, it's just a savings account. Something that you can pull money in and out of whenever you want to. And I think that alone would go a long way in helping people save. Because if you're in the lower or lower middle class, savings is difficult. You know, it's hard to put money into a retirement account. You know you should, but it's hard to lock that money away. You know, if you're living paycheck to paycheck, you don't know when you're going to suddenly need that $1,000 or that $500 or $5,000, whatever it is that you are contributing. Now, I know it's possible to withdraw contributions from a Roth IRA, and hopefully you know that as well, but how many normal, everyday working individuals know that that is an option, that they can withdraw the contributions from a Roth IRA whenever they need it? And that goes back to the simplicity structure. If you can replace all of these different types of accounts with one single universal savings account, it makes it a whole lot easier for people to know and understand the programs. And as they feel more confident about these programs, they are more likely to invest in these programs. Additionally, like I said, you know you can withdraw contributions from your Roth IRA, but this would allow total withdrawal. So both your contributions and your gains. So it would allow for a larger withdrawal, should you need it for whatever reason, from one of these universal savings accounts. So it's even more stable for the low to moderate income earner. So it kind of gives them a better safety net, because if for whatever reason they do need their money, they have access to all of it and not just what they initially contributed. Now, another great thing about the Canadian version of these universal savings accounts, something that has been very, very popular, and so I would not be surprised whatsoever if America attempted to adopt the same type of a program, is let's say, for example, that the annual contribution to one of these accounts is $5,000. We're just going to keep the math simple. But then something happened this year, you got hurt or sick or you got laid off, and so your income wasn't as high as you were hoping for, and so you didn't contribute as much as you were hoping to one of these universal savings accounts. Now, under the current American versions of, you know, the Roth or traditional IRAs, if you don't contribute and the year passes, that's it, you're done. You just have to wait until next year to contribute and max out that year. But with the Canadian version, if the contribution max is $5,000 and you only contributed $3,000 for that year, that extra $2,000 actually rolls over to the next year. And so next year you would be able to contribute $7,000 to your account. So this helps to try to get you caught back up if for whatever reason, you know, life throws you a curveball and you weren't able to contribute and max out your program like you had originally planned on. Now, opponents of this program typically will say things like, but it only helps the rich, you know, poor people don't have money to invest, so regardless of what kind of programs are out there, they can't invest because they just simply don't have the money to invest. And while I'm sure that is certainly true for some people, if you look at the statistics rate and the usage rate in the Canadian model, what you'll find is a fairly flat utilization rate. So while wealthy people, high income earners, are obviously contributing at a higher rate, even the low income earners are typically contributing. It's not like, you know, only the rich people are utilizing this program and none of the poor people are. There's a pretty high utilization rate even amongst the lowest income earners in Canada. And I think a big part of that, like I said, is attributed to just making the program easy and understandable. If people don't know what the difference between a SEP IRA and a solo 401k is, then they're not going to use it. But if everybody knows that this is a good savings account, and worst case scenario, I can get my money back at any point, then they're going to use it. So that's going to do it for us for today, folks. A preliminary look at the proposed changes under the Trump financial plan for the upcoming year. Obviously, like I said, this stuff is still up in the air, and there are very, very few details at this point. And even once they come out with finalized details, it would still have to go through Congress and get approved before it actually becomes law. But I'll be sure to keep you posted this fall when more inclusive details come out. And if you found this video useful, be sure to subscribe, leave a comment down below, and I'll see you all again next week. Thanks.